Hello Capricorn, Capricorn Rising, and Capricorn Moon people. This is your weekly astrological and card horoscope for the week starting April 17th, 2017. And a quick reminder for you guys, I will be putting up another special video about what to do now that Venus has gone direct, or will be direct as of the 15th of the month. Kind of dealing with the shadow period and some leftover lessons that will, be kind of hitting certain families of signs, cardinal, mutable, and fixed. You being cardinal, you will want to watch that, and that'll be coming out here very soon. You won't have to wait for it, it's already recorded, I just have to edit it. And of course, if you ever want to get a session with me, you can always follow the links below, or go to integrativemysticism.com. So what is going on with the astrology this week for the Capricorn people? Well, at the beginning of the week, we've got a gorgeous angle going on between the Sun, finishing up in Aries in your 4th house of home and family, connecting to Saturn, currently retrograde, in your past, your privacy, your hidden zone, your 12th house. Now remember, Saturn retrograde is trying to get rid of unnecessary rules, unnecessary policies, unnecessary limitations, and this could all be related to a family issue, or possibly even a home finance issue, something that has been kind of locked or blocked in this area of your life for quite some time. These could be old bills, old issues, having to relate to maybe even debts, quite possibly as well if there has been some kind of limitation to maybe even a connection with somebody from your past whom you are related to, reuniting estranged family members and things like that. Any kind of old limitation or boundary that's been put up will be getting removed early on this week. Later on, we have the Sun moving into Taurus, into your 5th house of love, romance, and relationships with your children, and Mercury retrograde is there, and they will be in a conjunction, a very harmonious connection, reuniting you with somebody that you may have had a bit of a crush on in the past. There could be an opportunity to reignite some passionate fires there. There could also be a chance that we may be able to restart a relationship or get a relationship started that never got a chance in the first place. So, what is going on with your cards then? Well, for your spiritual advice, we do have the card of the Green Man. And the Green Man always talks about taking action, taking the first action, but also making sure that we pay attention to where we can actually increase the yield of a work in progress. Okay, we're talking about abundance through fertility. Now, fertility, not necessarily in the sense of, or do we have the capacity to get pregnant, but fertility in terms of, again, a bigger harvest. Where can we start putting the initiative forward into getting a bigger harvest out of something that we already have going on? And that makes a lot of sense. Jupiter is currently in your 10th house of career. So what are we going to be working on that's already, sort of needs a bit more TLC when it comes to our finances, or anything that we need to kind of have a bigger payoff or payout for you? You are going to find opportunities this week to start injecting more energy into these processes. We may be finding out that we are getting paid more for something that is even completed. Those of you who have maybe investments out there, projects you've submitted out there, creative artists out there getting a payoff on maybe even works, books, albums, things like that you've published. There's an opportunity to start getting them to pay out more this week. And even if you don't have any of those processes going on, the Green Man is talking about, again, getting a higher yield or a bigger harvest out of a seed you have already planted. For your Earth sector, when it comes to your work and finances, we do have the Hermit card upright. Now, this is kind of an interesting card to get because it does talk about somebody coming out of the woodwork for you, somebody who has not been in contact with you for quite some time. The Hermit card could be actually pulling you aside. This is a time where a lot of you could be finding that, again, a product or a service or maybe even a job that you do is being discovered and is actually going to be going through some improvements. You may be finding you are picked out of a crowd this week. And the Hermit card can indicate somebody, or possibly even a company, you have been out of contact with for some time. However, the Hermit card does show up to, sort of reconstruct, improve, or, I guess you could say rearrange an existing norm in this area of your life, employment, and in your finances in your favor. The Hermit card can say people who have not been speaking up are finally ready to start speaking up, or getting in touch and being in touch this week as well. So we are kind of closing the gap in some kind of estrangement, or possibly getting people finally ready for action in this area as well, which is always a nice thing, especially if people have been keeping their lips zipped or being too preoccupied with so much other things that it's hard for us to, get a move on. For your communications with air, when it comes to your friends, your relatives, the others in your life, we do have the Nine of Pentacles reversed. And this card can indicate a difficult conversation happening this week with a friend or a relative who is not necessarily doing their part in, I guess you could say, a collaboration or in an arrangement that they have with you. You might be finding out that you're not getting the return on an investment or the time or the effort you're putting in that they are. If you've ever had to do collaborative efforts, with people, and you kind of find out, like, well, this person really isn't helping me. This person really isn't, I'm doing this, we're going to do this with and for each other, but we kind of find out it's all about him or her. We're going to have to correct that unfairness this week. The Nine of Pentacles reverse can also indicate a situation where you might want to make sure that nobody's trying to get a freebie off you this week. This can be a situation where, with the Nine of Pentacles reverse, somebody is kind of trying to haggle you down in a way that's very disrespectful. They know that you can do X, Y, and Z, they may be asking you to do X, Y, and Z, they would pay anyone else more, but they are going to you because they know they can get it for cheap. That is... I've always liked the idea of my friends and family knowing I would hook them up, but if they're not going to at least make it sweet on me, or at least, in gratitude give more in another way, then it's still unfair. And there is that element there that I think a lot of you Capricorn people need to, just simply make it a point to, to ask for some more respect on. It could be going on right now. For your challenge this week with fire, we do have the Eight of Swords upright. And Capricorn, this card can talk about paying attention to where standstills that don't need to be standstills are permitted to be frozen in time for reasons I don't understand. The Eight of Swords can talk about areas in our life where, we are not necessarily, it's not that we're not doing enough, but it's more like we're doing the same thing on repeat. We have the same answer for the same problem as it comes up over and over again. Now, the problem with that is obviously that answer to that problem is not a permanent solution. Because if something keeps coming up over and over again, then we need to stop handling it the same way over and over and over again. The challenge with this card can also be maybe even going against or breaking some kind of personal code of ethics that actually is not working for you. Sometimes our morals and our principles are things that we set up at a point in time to make us feel better about that point in time, but they can actually be a hindrance. They could even be useless. And I think that what happens with this Eight of Swords is your challenge is to pay attention to where, you may be operating with a code of ethics or a code of honor or a code of conduct that does not serve. It's not actually helping you. It's not actually protecting you. And it may be the thing that is actually keeping us, again, in this standstill. It's not about compromising our values or selling out. It's about, well, trading for an upgrade when we know something is out of date. For your emotions with water and your romantic life, we do have the Seven of Wands upright. And the Seven of Wands is a wonderful card for love because it does indicate you being able to, again, finally seize the attention of somebody that you feel has not actually had the time or the availability for you. And there's a million and one reasons why that could happen. It never has to be personal. And sometimes with the Seven of Wands, you may be finding out that somebody is working their ass off to hold your attention. Somebody going out of the way to compete for your attention, but not in a way that's aggressive. What I like about the Seven of Wands here is that if you've been trying to kind of make it known that you're interested, or, you're trying to get raised up on that priority list with a crush, somebody you like, somebody new in your life, we're finally seeing the fruits of that labor start to come this week. For those of you who are currently coupled, the Seven of Wands upright is also good, but it's a different kind of good, because the Seven of Wands can indicate a partner or a lover kind of turning into the badass hero for you this week. You may be finding out that he or she is deciding to go and sort of take the initiative and sort of act as your representative, or even do things on your behalf that you might be afraid to do. Sometimes, and not necessarily in a way that would be considered, bad or codependent. Sometimes it's nice to see, like, if a partner sees something is hard for us to do, hard for us to manage, and he or she decides to, what? No, I understand. I understand this is hard for you. This is a difficult time for you. But you know what? It's not difficult for me, so I'm going to step up and I'm going to do it. And that's exactly what the Seven of Wands is saying here. Do you need somebody to champion that cause? Or maybe you don't need them to, but out of the goodness of their own heart, they're going to volunteer anyway. So that is your horoscope, Capricorn. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. You know I appreciate it. And of course, if you ever want to get a session, you can always follow the links below, or go to integrativemysticism.com.